One Little House, and a cast that carried more pain than any family in Walnut Grove ever did.
If I had a remembrance book, I would mark down how it was when we left our little house in the big woods to go west to Indian Territory.
The father who built television's perfect family died 90 days after his diagnosis.
I don't want you ever to go against an order I give you again. Do you understand? Do you understand?
The mother was drinking from the prop table between takes.
Oh, to hear the angels sing, praise, praise for I.
America's sweetest daughter grew up to owe the government almost $500,000.
It's snowing! I hope it snows all the way to Christmas.
One cast member turned 18, vanished, and didn't speak to his family for decades. And that little girl who tumbles down the hill in the opening credits? She fell because her shoes were on the wrong feet.
I get to milk the cow!
Wow!
Real fine job, too.
And she wasn't even one girl. She was two. Stay with me, because after 52 years, it's time you knew what really happened.
I knew there would be rivers to cross and hills to climb, and I was glad. For this is a fair land, and I rejoiced that I would see it.
Michael Landon is Charles Ingalls. He was born Eugene Maurice Orowitz on October 31st, 1936, in Queens, New York. Born on Halloween, raised in a house full of shadows. His mother was emotionally unstable.
I'd feel a lot more welcome if you'd put that thing down.
His parents were constantly at war. You watched him play the warmest father on television. He was building the family he never had. A javelin scholarship took him to USC. An injury took it away, so he acted instead. 14 seasons as Little Joe on Bonanza made him a star. Then in 1974, he created Walnut Grove. He starred, wrote, directed, and produced. He appeared on the cover of TV Guide 22 times. Only Lucille Ball managed more, and he never won a single Emmy.
What are you looking for?
I'll know it when I see it.
But the children are tired, and the joy seems to have gone out of all of
It'll
us.
pass, Carolyn.
Before emotional scenes, he'd lean close to 9-year-old Melissa Gilbert. He'd quietly ask if she knew how much he loved her. Then the cameras rolled, and the tears were real. But Gilbert learned something later. That coffee mug Pa carried around set, it often had vodka in it. In February of 1991, Landon took his family skiing in Utah. The stomach pain became unbearable. On April 5th, doctors found pancreatic cancer. It had already spread to his liver. Inoperable. Terminal. 3 days later, he invited reporters to his Malibu ranch, and he cracked jokes. He said you can't beat something by standing in a corner. He tried chemotherapy exactly once. Then he switched to carrot juice and coffee enemas. 3 weeks later, a scan showed the cancer had doubled. On May 9th, he sat with Johnny Carson one last time. He called out the tabloids printing lies about him. He asked America to pray. 1 month before the end, he told Life magazine death would have to fight to take him. Michael Landon died on July 1st, 1991. He was 54 years old. Diagnosis to death: 3 months. 9 children gathered around him. His daughter said he kept fighting because he still had little ones to raise. His headstone says he seized life with joy. Here's what you should remember. He built television's perfect father out of a childhood that had none, and the world gave him 90 days to say goodbye. But Pa wasn't the only one hiding something on that set.
Sometimes I think we're better off alone on the prairie. We just have to depend on ourselves. Nobody else. Maybe it's God's way of punishing me for wanting too much.
Karen Grassle is Caroline Ingalls. She was born on February 25th, 1942, in Berkeley, California. And here's the detail almost nobody knows. When she auditioned in 1973, she wasn't Karen Grassle. She was calling herself Gabriel Tree. She was broke, discouraged, and ready to quit acting for good. Then she reportedly beat 47 other actresses for the role of Ma. It was Michael Landon who convinced her to take her real name back. You watched her play the calmest woman on the prairie. In her 2021 memoir, she confessed the truth. She was a functioning alcoholic through the show's early years. She'd wake with a brutal hangover, work a full day, then drink straight from the prop table. Her own father worked every day of his life, and drinking still killed him. In June of 1977, a childhood friend named Tony confronted her. Grassle couldn't argue her way out. She got sober mid-series, and she stayed sober ever since. But there was another war on that set. When the show became a hit, Grassle asked for a raise. Landon refused. He argued her pay should track with the child actors. She called it an insult she never understood. Her memoir says he mocked her face and figure while reviewing footage, and the crew laughed along. When she was offered a movie role as John Travolta's mother, he blocked it. It wasn't even an audition. It was a straight offer, and it was gone. Here's the part that matters. Before Landon died in 1991, the two of them made peace. Today, in 2026, Karen Grassle is 84 years old. She lives in the San Francisco Bay Area, and she never stopped acting. In December of 2025, she stood with her castmates at the 50th anniversary reunion. It took her nearly 50 years to tell the truth about Walnut Grove. Then she showed up to celebrate it anyway, and the girl who played her daughter, she was hiding even more.
I can imagine the kind of women he's known. I don't like having him around the children, Charles. Especially Laura. For some reason, she's taken to him.
Melissa Gilbert is Laura Ingalls Wilder. She was born on May 8, 1964, in Los Angeles. Her birth mother was an exotic dancer. Her birth father raced stock cars. She was given up the day she was born and adopted the next morning. 9 years later, she reportedly beat out hundreds of little girls to become Laura. Then her adoptive father died of a stroke while the show was still running. She was 11, so Michael Landon became her father. Remember that. It's the key to everything that came next. Because behind the braids, Half Pint was unraveling. By 20, she'd had 3 nose jobs. She ran with the Brat Pack. At 22, she was engaged to Rob Lowe and pregnant with his child. He told her he couldn't commit to marriage or fatherhood, and he walked. Days later, she miscarried. She wrote that losing both at once hurt like hell. She married Bo Brinkman 6 weeks after meeting him. 2 months after their son was born, she walked in on him with another woman. At her lowest, she was drinking 2 bottles of wine a night, alone. When Landon died in 1991, she lost her father a second time. She stayed in bed with the shades drawn, unable to speak. Then, in 2004, she passed out in a dog bed during a dinner party. That was the night everything changed. She's been sober ever since. But life had one more ambush. The IRS came for her. Over $470,000 in tax debt. When she ran for Congress in 2016, her opponent branded her a tax cheat. She set up a payment plan and worked it off year by year. And here's your full circle moment. In 1985, she became the youngest person ever given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Decades later, she returned to the story that made her, playing Ma, not Laura, on stage. Today, in 2026, Melissa Gilbert is 62. She lives in the Catskills and runs a lifestyle brand called Modern Prairie. But one confession from her memoir will stay with you. Abuse survivors still write to her, saying Laura's life was their only childhood escape. They wish they'd lived it. She never tells them the truth. She wishes she'd lived it too. And her own family held one more secret. A castmate who'd simply vanish. We'll get there.
Have you ever seen so many people before in your life?
Well, I'm happy to say I haven't.
Charles, you said you wouldn't mind visiting.
I know what I said.
Melissa Sue Anderson is Mary Ingalls, born September 26, 1962, in Berkeley, California. She was 11 when she was cast. And here's a fact that should stop you cold. In 9 seasons, this show earned exactly 1 acting Emmy nomination. It went to her in 1978 for playing Mary's blindness. A year later, she won an Emmy for an after-school special. Then Hollywood offered her The Blue Lagoon, the role that made Brooke Shields world famous. Anderson turned it down. She refused to do the nudity. On set, castmates found her distant and cold. Melissa Gilbert's words about her over the years were brutal, but Anderson was a reserved kid whose parents divorced when she was 13. The two Melissas have since made peace. In 1990, she married producer Michael Sloan. In 2002, she did what almost no star does. She left, moved to Montreal, became a Canadian citizen on Canada Day, 2007. She raised her 2 kids away from cameras so they could become their own people. It worked. Neither one chose Hollywood. In August of 2025, after 35 years of marriage, she lost her husband. Today, she's 63, the only Emmy-nominated actor in the the show's history is the one who walked away from fame, and she never looked back. Mary left quietly. The next girl got hate mail for 50 years.
First of all, I want to thank you for sending me here. If I hadn't come to the school, I'd probably still be sitting in the darkness feeling sorry for myself. And I never would have met Adam. He saved my life.
Allison Arngrim is Nellie Oleson, born January 18, 1962. Here's the irony that started it all. She auditioned to play Laura, then Mary. Instead, she was cast as the girl America would hate for 50 years. Her mother, by the way, was the voice of Casper the Friendly Ghost. And Gumby, television's meanest girl, was raised by its friendliest ghost. And off camera, Nellie and Laura were best friends. Real ones. Slumber parties. They once got accidentally tipsy on rum cakes from a convenience store. But Arngrim was carrying something no one on that set knew. In 2004, on Larry King Live, she revealed she was a childhood abuse survivor. In her memoir, she named the abuser her own older brother. Then she turned her pain into protection for other kids. She fought alongside child safety advocates and helped change a California law that had gone easy on abusers within families. There's more. Steve Tracy, who played her on-screen husband Percival, was her best friend. In 1986, he died of AIDS. Reporters shoved microphones at her and asked if she'd caught it from kissing him. She decided if they were going to broadcast her anyway, she'd say something useful. She became one of Hollywood's first AIDS activists, working hotlines while others hid. Today, in 2026, Allison Arngrim is 64. Her one-woman show tours the world. In France, she performs it entirely in French, and Paris mobs her. Her memoir became a New York Times bestseller. Millions hated Nellie Oleson. It turns out the girl you spent 7 years hating deserved more love than anyone on that prairie. And the youngest Ingalls daughter, she was hiding in plain sight twice. Lindsay and Sydney Greenbush are Carrie Ingalls, both of them, born May 25, 1970, in Hollywood. Their parents didn't even know twins were coming until the delivery room. The credits smushed their names into one, Lindsay Sydney Greenbush. So for 9 years, you watched two little girls and never knew it. Now, that famous opening credits moment. Little Carrie tumbling down the grassy hill. That was a real accident. Sydney fell because her shoes were on the wrong feet. The crew wanted a reshoot. Landon refused. That mistake opened the show for nearly a decade. In 1978, the twins wrote to Amy Carter. The president's daughter wrote back and invited them to the White House. Little House was reportedly her favorite show. When the series ended, both girls quit acting as teenagers. Then their lives split in the most unexpected ways. Rachel Lindsay earned an accounting degree, took up amateur boxing, and now teaches at-risk kids in the ring. Sydney became a professional rodeo champion, one of the top barrel racers in the country. And here's the fact that might be the sweetest in this whole story. As a kid on set, Rachel met a local boy named Danny under an oak tree at the ranch. They met again in 2012. In 2014, they married under that same oak tree. Carrie Ingalls grew up to be a boxer, a rodeo champion, and a fairy tale. But the strangest life story belongs to the boy Pa adopted.
You tucked me into it.
I thought so.
Oh, damn.
Don't ever let me hear you talk like that.
I'm sorry.
Matthew Labyorteaux is Albert Ingalls, born December 8, 1966 in Los Angeles. He played an adopted orphan. He was 1, adopted at 10 months old. He was born with a hole in his heart. He couldn't walk until 3. He couldn't speak until 5. Doctors told his mother he might never live a normal life. She spent months on the floor holding a screaming little boy. She kept promising she'd love him no matter what. You know what happened next. He became one of the most beloved child actors in America. And there's a secret inside the character itself. Landon created Albert to honor a promise to grieving friends who'd lost a son. The boy's name? Albert. Before playing him, Matthew even played young Charles Ingalls in a flashback. He played his own future father. Then it gets stranger. In 1982, at 15, he became the United States Pac-Man champion, 1,200,000 points. In the 90s, he and his brother Patrick raised roughly $11 million for runaway youth shelters. They testified before Congress. Today, he he's 59, married, and the voice behind characters you'd recognize instantly, from Mulan to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Albert's fate on the show? Still television's unsolved argument. The boy doctors gave up on outlived every prediction ever made about him, yet one prairie kid outvanished them all.
Is that your name? Laura? Laura Ingalls. What's yours? Albert. Albert what? That's right. What's right? I gotta go.
Jonathan Gilbert is Willie Oleson, born April 28, 1967. He's Melissa Gilbert's adopted brother in real life. Remember that secret I promised you? This is it. At his audition, Michael Landon just laughed and laughed. Young Jonathan had no idea why. He got the part and stayed for the entire run. Then came the mystery. At 18, he vanished. Melissa wrote that her brother cut himself off from the family completely. He simply disappeared. She saw him 3 times in 2 decades and never learned why. Where did Willie Oleson go? Wall Street. He earned an MBA in finance and became a stockbroker in New York City. He never acted again, not once. For over 30 years, the Prairie's prankster was a ghost. Then, around Christmas of 2019, the phone finally rang. Brother and sister reconnected, and they've talked constantly ever since. She says he's doing very well. Today, he's 59. You spent years watching Willie pull pranks in Walnut Grove. His greatest disappearing act came after the cameras stopped. The children survived. The men beside Pa didn't.
That's not true, Nellie Olson. Yes, it is. Just like Ladybug.
Victor French is Mr. Edwards. In 1977, he left Walnut Grove for his own sitcom. It's the oldest gamble in Hollywood. The show faded, and he came home to the prairie. Later, he reunited with Landon on Highway to Heaven, playing his partner one more time. In April of 1989, doctors found advanced lung cancer. 2 months later, on June 15th, he was gone, 54 years old. He never lived to see his final episodes air. His replacement in Walnut Grove: Merlin Olsen, Jonathan Garvey. Before the Prairie, Olsen was one of the most feared men in America. 15 years with the Rams' fearsome foursome, 14 Pro Bowls, a Hall of Famer who later sold flowers on television as America's gentlest pitchman. In 2009, he was diagnosed with mesothelioma, a cancer caused by asbestos, so he sued 25 companies, including NBC itself. He died in 2010 at 69, with the lawsuit still pending. His family later settled, and here's the number you won't shake. French died at 54. 2 years later, Landon died at 54. Pa and his best friend gone at the exact same age. And then there were the Olsens.
Good morning, Mr. Garvey.
Jumping Jehoshaphat, Charlie. You shouldn't sneak up on a man like that.
Catherine McGregor is Harriet Olsen, the woman you love to hate. Off-screen, she fought her own private battle with alcohol. While recovering, she converted to Hinduism, and that led to television's strangest absence. When the show filmed its farewell movie, McGregor wasn't there. She was on a pilgrimage in India. TV's greediest gossip skipped her own goodbye to go seek enlightenment. She never returned to the screen. Instead, she spent decades teaching acting to children. She died in 2018 at 93 in a retirement home built for old Hollywood. Her on-screen husband, Richard Bull, played long-suffering Nels. Here's the irony. On television, he endured the worst marriage in Walnut Grove. In real life, he had one of the best in Hollywood. He was married to the same woman for 65 years. He died in February of 2014 at 89. His wife followed him just months later. They left this world almost together. One man from Walnut Grove made keeping this memory his life's work.
Oh, couldn't be better. Well, the trouble is I'm very thirsty. I just can't get enough of this water.
Dean Butler is Almanzo Wilder. He arrived in 1979, 22 years old and nervous. On day one, he fumbled the horses, and 15-year-old Melissa Gilbert laughed at him. Here's the twist you didn't see coming. He'd originally auditioned to play Mary's husband, and he lost. Losing that role won him television's most beloved courtship. Today, at 70, Butler is the keeper of the flame. He's produced documentaries on the real Laura and Almanzo. He published his memoir, Prairie Man, in 2024, and he produced the 50th anniversary reunion itself. He says there's not a day he works without asking one question. What would Michael do?
Almanzo, what is your favorite dish?
It's cinnamon chicken.
So that's Little House on the Prairie, then and now after 52 years. What really happened? Landon, gone at 54. French, gone at 54. Olsen, taken by the asbestos he sued NBC over. Harriet, Nels, Doc Baker, Percival, Alice Garvey, all gone now. But look at the children. Every single one of them is still here. Laura, Mary, Nellie, Willie, Albert, both Carries. All of them survived the fame that broke so many child stars. Maybe the discipline on Landon's set counted for something after all. In December of 2025, the survivors gathered in Simi Valley for the 50th anniversary, and this month, a brand new Little House premieres on Netflix. Walnut Grove refuses to die. So here's my question for you. Which story hit you hardest? Ma's secret battle, Willie's disappearance, the oak tree wedding? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If you want more stories like this, the real lives hiding behind television's most beloved families, subscribe now and watch this next. The Dukes of Hazzard, cast then and now, 47 years later. That cast carried secrets too, because now you know the truth. Michael Landon built television's perfect family out of a childhood that had none. You'll never watch that opening the same way again. The little girl still falls down the hill. Now you know she was two little girls. And you know why Pa is smiling. He finally had the family he'd always wanted, even if it was only make-believe.